Hey, what's going on? Ryan Celestine here, and just a couple days ago, finished up Tulsa Tri. I did the 70.3 distance, and while they did give these shirts out at Packet Pickup, I truly felt that after finishing that race, I earned the right to wear the shirt. That was a tough day. Holy smokes, that was a tough day. One of the harder non-full Ironman distance races that I've done in a very long time. Quite possibly one of the hottest races I've done, maybe 4, 5, 6 years. It was brutal. It was absolutely brutal. So let's get into it. Leading into the race, two things I want to talk about was one, how I was feeling leading into the race. And then two, my schedule was way different. So this was a local race to us. So no travel. It's literally my hometown. And that doesn't happen every day. Super thankful for that. However, a big storm had rolled in a week before the race, and lots of parts of our state were without power. And our neighborhood got demolished by this storm, crazy winds, 80 to 100 mile an hour wind gusts. And I mean, trees down everywhere, and vehicles wrecked, and houses wrecked. And thankfully, our house is okay, but we lost power, and we lost power for about a week. And so we were actually staying at my mom's house. My mom and stepdad, they live about 20 minutes north. And so it almost felt like a destination race, where we weren't at home. It wasn't the normal routine, but I didn't notice the stress. It just felt like a little vacation. And so my wife and I took the girls and stayed with my mom and stepdad, and it was a good experience. So that was number one. Number two, all throughout the week, coming out of my taper, I still felt very asleep. I still felt very like in hibernation mode. And after every session, nothing really woke me up. And I just kind of thought that my coach was trying something different. I never mentioned it to him. That was a mistake on my part. So heading into the race, I felt sleepy. Not tired, not exhausted, just sleepy. And my body felt great, but I just felt like I was asleep. My body felt like I was asleep. So anyway, hop into race morning. I know it's going to be a hot day. I'm prepared for that. Got the nutrition, hydration, all that's dialed in. I feel like it's rocking and rolling. And so I'm looking forward to a great day. And day before the race, I threw out my goal times of a 40-minute swim, a 2.5-hour bike ride, and an hour 31-minute run, and feeling pretty confident in my ability to deliver. And so the race starts, and it's a 2-loop swim for the Olympic distance and for the half distance. And have some goggle issues. This is 2 races in a row where I had goggles issues at the start, and I lost a little bit of time there, but stayed focused and kept doing the thing. And about halfway through the race, or maybe 3/4, halfway to 3/4 through the race, I recognized that I was staying with this group of people, and that's usually not the case for me. Usually, I constantly get passed throughout the swim. And I was staying with this group. And so that was a win. But what was even better was I decided to actually speed up and pass them. And I passed them and never saw them again. And so, while I didn't have a fantastic swim, I think I swam it was 44 minutes. Not a great swim at all. Not my best, not my worst, but I was really happy with that aspect. The fact that I wasn't getting passed towards the end, and I was actually passing people towards the end that had previously passed me, but it felt really good, and that was a win for the day. Made quick work of transition, hopped on the bike, and like I did in the last race, I opted not to have my shoes clipped in. And so I clop along, gallop through, transition with my shoes on, but hey, it's all right. And so hop on the bike, and I'm not familiar with the course, getting a feel for the course, but I really liked the bike course. There was a really fast section, maybe the first, 10 miles, 15 miles or so. And I realized, on the first lap that that was where we had a tailwind, because shortly thereafter we were right into the headwind. And I wouldn't say that I was having a bad day, but mentally I was feeling sorry for myself. I was thinking, man, this is hard, this is tough, this sucks. The wind was brutal. I mean, it was absolutely brutal. and I have my new aero position, and I'm just trying to make the most of the situation, get a feel for how everything's going on. But like, it was just really tiring to hold myself there and stay in aero, but also stay checked in mentally. And then this dude passes me. Now, rarely do I get passed on the bike unless there's an age group swim start, because I'm a middle of the pack swimmer. I'm a pretty good cyclist. And so for someone to swim slower than me and ride faster than me, it doesn't normally happen. And so this guy passes me, and right away I realize I've been daydreaming. And so, I may have been going, 16, 17, 18 mile an hour into this headwind. He passes me, and next thing I know, I'm like, hey, let's go, let's get it. And we're going 20, 21, 22, 23, and I'm feeling, okay, great. Now I do not stay on. Okay, so he passes me, and when I stay on, I mean within the draft legal zone. When I stay on, what I mean is staying in contact with him. No, even though I was riding harder now, he was still getting further and further away. But it was great encouragement to just snap me out of that moment where I was really just not minding my business. Just my mind was just out of it, just totally zoned out, dazed out. On the second loop, I pushed harder on that tailwind section, had some good splits there, and come to find out, I had some of the faster bike splits for the day, and also for the segments overall. So I did have moments where I was riding really hard, really efficient, and then there were moments where I was totally checked out, zoned out, and just going through the motions, and I lost a lot of time. I think I rode like a 2:48 or something. I don't remember the splits. I don't even have it in front of me, so I can't look right now. It was not a fast bike time by any means, but 2:48, maybe 2:50, I don't recall. So hop onto the run, and again, I'm just treating everything just like we've been training, sticking to the plan, staying focused. And I brought a cooling towel. I knew it was going to be hot. I knew it was going to be sunny. And so I already had that in water ready to go. My hat was in water ready to go. Have my fuel belt. I'm ready to go. And this time I tried out a different nutrition plan as far as the containers. So with Ironman Tulsa, I had my nutrition in baggies. And at the aid stations, I would open the baggies and pour it in there. And it was kind of clunky and messy and took a lot of time. And this time, I used the Precision Hydration tablet, or the tubes. I stuck my drink mix in there and then just popped those open while I was running. And then when I got there at aid stations, filled it up. It worked really good. And so right out of transition, I'm running 7:30 pace. And I realized that that's about all I have. That's it. That's it. The first mile I ran 7:30. And that was the fastest mile of the day. Now in Tulsa, fast forward or go back in time a few weeks back to when I did Ironman Tulsa 70.3, I was consciously choosing to hold myself back to run 7:10s, the first 6, 7, 8 miles of that run. And then I was forcing myself to run 7:20, 7:30 to finish off that run. Where at Tulsa, or Tulsa Tri rather, 7:30 for that first mile was all I had. There were no other gears. There was no fast gear, and it just kind of got slower after that, and I probably hovered around, probably actually running 8 to 8:30 pace for the whole run, but I was walking the aid stations, and when I say walking, I mean stopping and getting fluids and getting ice and covering myself, so I was losing time every aid station, so averaged out to around 9:10 per mile pace. I think it was like a 1:55 half marathon. And so I just made the most of the day. There were moments where I never felt bad. I think this is one of my slower half Ironman times. I would get to look to see, but 5.5 hours is what I finished overall, 5.5 hours. And it was one of my slower times, but it wasn't because I blew up. There's been other times where I blew up and I had a result of it this time because I was walking or something bad happened on the bike. This time it was strictly I just didn't have the fuel, didn't have the pump in my legs to rock it out. It is what it is. It is what it is. And no regrets. I don't feel bad or embarrassed or anything. I just made the most of the day. And one thing I did do, there were 2 races going at the same time, a 70.3 distance and an Olympic distance, and we had different bib colors. So it was helpful to see who was who. But anytime someone was in front of me, I made the objective to catch them. And so that was the only racing that I did. I raced a little bit in the swim where I caught some people in the swim. I tried to stay with the guy who passed me on the bike, but on the run, if someone was in front of me, I was going to close the gap, and that's it. That's all that happened. Like, it was a very lonely, hot, windy, hard, solo day. I think if you look at the results, I finished 4th overall, but every split, there's significant time between. You know, like the difference between first and second was probably 20 minutes. The difference between second and third is probably 20 minutes. The difference between third and fourth was 15 minutes. The difference between fourth and fifth was like 6 or 7 minutes. I mean, it was literally just spread out all day long. So it was a solo effort, this time trial effort. And I realized early on that this was just going to be really a glorified training session, you know? And it was a great experience. It was hot. It was uncomfortable. But I never felt like I got hot. Now, looking at my heart rate, Coach and I talked, and my heart rate looks like it was right on point for the bike and right on point for the run. And so here I am running 8:30 miles, 9-minute miles, and my heart rate is 150, 160. Where usually in training, my heart rate is around 120, 130 for those type efforts. So clearly the heat was impacting me. The great news is I never felt the heat. I didn't feel like, oh, it's so hot. It was hot, yes, but I didn't feel overwhelmed and broken and destroyed by the heat. And if you've ever been out there suffering, you know exactly what I mean. And so that was a great feeling. I feel like I handled managed my core temp pretty good, managed the heat pretty good, and like I said, stuck to my nutrition plan. And so all in all, fantastic day. Days like this really support me in creating a new perspective. A couple years ago when I had my PR for a half, that was such an easy day. And I'm so amazed at how hard Tulsa Tri was compared to that race. And, there's a handful of factors that factor into that, but it was a really tough day. And it was good mental prep. It was good to be out in the heat and get that heat exposure. It was good. And I know that it will prepare me for the training that's going to happen in July and August. It will prepare me leading into Worlds for Finland in August. It will prepare me leading to Ironman Arizona in November. And I'm really happy about that. Not frustrated at all. What I'm most excited about is the fact that we get down to training now. It's going to be a light week this week as we're getting back into moving and getting the body moving again. I've had the last 2 days off, and tomorrow we start just an easy ride, easy run. But I'm really looking forward to training. I'm really looking forward to continue to develop the bike and the run. I think the swim is just kind of hit and miss right now. I know that there's progress happening on a regular basis in the swim, and sometimes we're going to see it on race day, and sometimes we're not. And I accept that. I'm going to have patience and grace with myself. But I really want to get to work on the bike and run because I know that there's potential there that has not been realized. And so I'm very much looking forward to training in this summer heat, racing a cool race in August, but all of that building towards Ironman Arizona in November, and again, ultimately focusing on Ironman Texas, maybe even Galveston 17.3 for 2024. So with that is my race recap for Tri-Tulsa. Like I said, I finished 5 hours and 30 minutes, 4th place overall, won my age group. There wasn't a lot of people at this race, and it was a tough day. It was a tough day. The conditions were tough, and that spread some things out. But just like in my last race, it's always a weird feeling to have higher positions, winning your age group or podium, whenever it's not a PR. I always feel kind of weird about that. But you can only race who shows up, and it is what it is. So all that to say, fantastic race, fantastic training day. I was hoping to get this video like in 10 minutes, but we're sitting right at 14 minutes right now. So I think that's all the things I wanted to share for this video. But the biggest takeaway was mentally I never got discouraged or frustrated. Just kept going. Just kept stuck to the plan and just kept going. Making sure that I was covered in water and ice and consumed my fluids, and that was all I could control. And if there was someone in front of me, I caught him, and that was it. And so, ultimately, great race. It will prepare me for some hard sessions this summer, and hopefully one of these days, you know, whether it be in Finland in August or whether it be in Arizona in November. I'm looking forward to putting together a great race and you know, seeing the results of the training that we've been putting out, and seeing, you know, the potential that I feel like I have for the sport. So with that, training starts back up tomorrow, and we'll start having some more daily shorts. So with that, I will see you next time. Bye for now.